Okay, I'm in Athens. It's Monday night, about almost 6, and I'm just wandering around these out-of-the-way areas of Athens where they're not so touristy. Some type of remains of a temple. Don't know what it is. There's no signs, but we'll just pan around. There's an old Byzantine church, very lovely. It's closed up for tonight. You can see more remains of temples and pedestals and stones and artifacts just, lying around, and nobody can really figure out what's what here. Normally, a lot of the churches were built over the remains of temples. I guess they just wanted to continue the traditional part of Greece where you're transitioning from pagans, which were probably much more exciting than Christians. But, nevertheless, nice little out-of-the-way spot, and we'll move on. Okay, we're at Hadrian's Arch, just outside the Plaka, the main tourist zone in Athens. We get across a really busy 2015 crazy street. And the Athenian drivers are like, look out, I'm coming, and if you get in the way, I'll run you over. But Hadrian was a Roman emperor who admired the Greek culture. He wanted to restore Athens to its former glory. So he started rebuilding, temples and building and constructions and all kinds of things. If I can get across the street, we'll get a little closer. There's supposed to be a walk light here, but that doesn't mean anybody will obey it. Hold on. Okay, I'm crossing the street. There's actually cars stopping and people are walking, but you gotta look nevertheless. All right, crossing the street. There's what's left of Hadrian's Arch and whatever else he had here. I'm not sure if we can get a better shot. We'll go around. A few tourists and people walking around. Looks like people from all over the world. And you can hear the noise of the bikes and the cars and stuff that goes on in Athens that you gotta wonder, how do they survive? But the arch is pretty impressive. This leads to the temple to Zeus, and it's actually larger than the Parthenon on the Acropolis. We'll pan over and take a look at what's left of it. It's basically a lot of columns, something here, not a whole lot of signs here, but you can see the columns and how massive they are. There's a chain link or wrought iron fence all around it. You can see some of the columns that have fallen over during the centuries. And these columns were not just one piece, they were separate discs, I think they called them. And they just piled them up one on top of another. And they put a piece of wrought resistant wood in between each disc to hold it up. And it's amazing that it's survived all these years of, earthquakes and invasions and fires and everything else that has gone on for over 2,000 years. The architecture looks Corinthian, which is the third and final stage of Greek architecture. The first was Doric, second was Ionic, third was Corinthian. And one way to remember it is to use the word Dic, D-I-C, Doric, Ionic, Corinthian. Kind of neat here. I can only imagine what this was like when it was intact. There's a nice spot right there where there's a number of columns still standing and the tops of whatever that was, maybe some stone beams and so forth. All kinds of stuff lying around on the ground. A few tourists here, but not like the Acropolis where it was packed. I think if we go probably now, it'll be quiet at 6 o'clock and most people are thinking about eating. But anyways, This is one of the less known of the Greek archaeological sites in Athens. Impressive as it is, I mean, those columns are pretty massive and tall and, you know, standing after 2,000 years or so. All right, we'll go back. We'll look at the arch. Maybe get a little better view, and okay. You can see the Acropolis up there and the walls they use for protecting it as a fortress. You can see Hadrian's arch here, and just beyond it is it's framing the Acropolis. And it's kind of weird to think, you know, here we are 2015 and there's massive traffic and there's people everywhere and it's crazy and noisy, and 2,500 years ago this must have been really something else, tranquil. Even though there may have been a lot of people here, it certainly wouldn't be like it is now with the noise, the pollution, the smog, and, you know, thousands of tourists going crazy, buying all kinds of tourist crap. So you got to be really careful what you're looking at, what you're buying, and not just buy everything that's being offered, and definitely don't get lured in by the shop owners and taverna owners. Just say no and keep moving. Okay, just pan around a little bit. Not too bad. All right, a lot of people here, so I don't really want to get them in the video here. We'll go back over and look at the columns, and of course people are walking in front of me. Pan in a little bit, and you can hear the traffic in the background. Good old Athens. Somehow they make it, even with all the problems they have. Traffic's actually stopping. That doesn't mean you don't look to make sure. Look down there, it's kind of quiet and dead, but behind me it's like massive traffic, and we'll take a look. There you go. So it's 6 o'clock Monday evening. People must be getting out of work, maybe going out, and they're off and running. There they go. Hadrian Arch, comes a bus, look out. Party tours, excursions Espanol. Okay, great. It's some type of a trolley. What a difference between modern or new Athens and the old Athens. We need to get out of here, head back towards the Plaka. And even though it's super touristy, at least it's a little quieter and more pedestrian friendly, but you can see all the cars here parked. There's really no police presence here about giving tickets or how you can park. The double parked, triple parked, parked in no parking zones. You know, it's like every man for themselves or woman. Okay, I'm gonna cross the little street here. You know, I'm not that far from where I just was, and it was like super loud and crazy. And up above is the Acropolis, the Greek flag. Straight ahead you could see another archaeological site. I'm gonna have to get off the road because here they come. Okay, we're entering the outer area of the Plaka. A little quieter area here, but it also tends to be higher end because you're so close to the Acropolis. Daphne's restaurant. I'm sure it's expensive, and you probably get cheaper food just as good if you know where you're going. There's the Acropolis, massive outer walls, high up on top of that big hill. And you know, your typical tourist stuff here. But here's a little archaeological site. I know there's a sign somewhere that tells us what this is. Something in France, French. Must be some archaeological person from back then. Some of these neoclassical buildings in this area are really nice. I mean, this isn't a bad area. Just like I say, on the outer edges of the Plaka, but you know, it's the tourist zone. May not be, you know, the best places to come to eat. It's not because the food isn't good, but higher prices, lots of people in your face when you're trying to eat. And you got waiters and restaurant owners trying to grab you off the street saying they're the best. Come here, I'll give you a deal. You know, best deal in Athens. You know, 10% off, 20% off because you're American. You know, the whole gamut of lines. I'm trying to figure out where we are here. There's a sign. Yasis. The Monument of Lysicrates. Built in 334, 333 BC. In 1669 AD, it was incorporated into the monastery of the Frankish order of Capuchin monks and was used as a cell, library, and study room. Lord Byron was accommodated in the monastery as well as several travelers like Chateaubriand and others. It was destroyed in 1824 during the Greek War of Independence by Omar Pasha's forces, those Ottoman Turks, those rats. So this is what's left. And it's like a restaurant right in front of it, and I'm talking, and there's a waiter standing next to me giving me the evil eye, but c'est la vie, as I say in French, or whatever else they want to say. Okay, onward. Okay, here's another angle of what we were just looking at. Tavernas all around it. I mean, nice, pleasant scene, not overly crowded, not in the middle of the tourist zone, but nevertheless, you know, caters to tourists, thinking this is Greece. Little tourist shops over there. Alcohol. All kinds of beer. Water. Some of Robin's favorite juices right there. And, you know, you get a lot of these little mini markets, not just in Athens, but everywhere. Okay, we'll wander on. Cafe, I'm gonna look at the prices. I'm sure it's like over the top. I guess not too bad, but not the most congenial or Greek type of places, more touristy and it's uphill, and we'll just pause for now. Alright, Athens is known for its graffiti, and this is a really colorful spot. I'm not sure what it is. Nobody here. I mean, it's not something that you want to like throw up at, but some neoclassical building. Whatever the graffiti means, probably something about the austerity programs and the banks and Merkel and, you know, the EU sticking it to Greece. Your art is dead. Your art is dead. Your art is dead. What that means, I don't know. Something else in English. I want to travel where dreams come from. That from thing that once was sad is somehow funny. Holocaust and 9/11, that shit's funny. 24/7. Not sure what that's all about, but probably a bunch of young anarchists, you know. I could, you know, sort of understand them, but, you know, if you're going to go after people, go after the ones that are causing the problems. You know, the government, the politics. Don't be defacing these ancient areas, because they're really, that's not good. Nice little spot here. Very pretty building. Nice steps up there, and there's the Acropolis, the outer walls. I could say, if you wander outside the tourist zone, there are places in Athens that are pretty neat. You know, you just can't get lured in by these travel agents and business people and restaurant and tourist people that say, you know, go to see the Plaka, the Monastery Square. It's like morning glories of a sort. Airplane overhead. Jasmine. Here's a nice shot of like a Bedis hill, which is one of the two prominent features in Athens. The other one, of course, is the Acropolis. Never made it up there, but it is very prominent and visible. A nice spot here. You know, you're in the middle of the city of millions, and it's like very quiet. You know, very nice. Probably a nice place to eat. There's a taverna. Some people eating. It's quiet and relaxed here. I'm not sure what that means. Something, the Acropolis, so there you go. Ah, Cave of Acropolis Taverna. Let's check out the prices. Fish variety for 2 people, 32 euros. Fried squids, mussels, octopus, anchovy, shrimp, spicy cheese, dip, eggplant. Okay. All kinds of goodies here. Just try not to stand around too much before they start flocking around me. Just move on because I'm starting to get the eye. Look down there. Okay, well, not much happening down here. All right, pause. Okay, I'm walking along here, just away from that little area where the tavernas were. Little side street. Lots of vegetation here. Up above the Acropolis. I don't know, maybe it's a parking area. Something here. And your usual cat. Okay. Some bougainvillea.